Hello, my name is Rick Little. I'm with the Utah Governor's Office of Management and Budget. I've been asked to provide some brief how-to videos for the Success Measurement Information System, or SMIS. This video covers enhancements to the SMIS implemented on March 30th of 2015. Information about the basic features of the SMIS without enhancements is given in 3 additional videos. Comments from users working with the SMIS during the first year were instrumental to developing these enhancements. Thank you for your continued feedback. There are 9 enhancements that I'll describe briefly. The first 4 enhancements are not demonstrated very well in the SMIS, therefore I'll describe them first, and then the remainder of the video will demonstrate the remaining enhancements. The first enhancement is a series of functional improvements added to the SMIS. These improvements are, first, alignment of the chart date parameters with the tabular data. In this illustration, you can see now that the data that is pulled in the table matches exactly the data that is in the chart. Next, we eliminated leading zeros in data entry fields for supplemental data. Previously, these had zeros in them and they were a bit confusing to some users. We relabeled the columns in the download Excel files to match the content in those columns. We also added a number of columns to the download. We enabled email notifications, which have been turned off during most of the first year of the SMIS. And finally, we allow users to view supplemental data on the My Systems screen. This is an example of what that might look like. Previously, once data was put into the My Systems screen, it was not always accessible by users. The second enhancement gives users the option to discontinue one or more email notifications. As a reminder, there are 4 email notifications. The first is an early notification. It comes at 5, 14, or 30 days prior to the report due dates, depending on monthly, quarterly, or annual report intervals. The second notification is on the due date. The third is the past due notice at 5, 14, and 30 days, again following the due date, depending on the interval. And the final notice is an escalation email on the 15th, 30th, or 90th day following the due date. And it's called escalation because it is an email that also goes to the agency administrator. The early notification and due date notices may be discontinued at any time. However, the past due and escalation notifications may only be discontinued with your administrator's approval. Please note that once a report is submitted, all scheduled notifications following that submission will not be sent. So timely submission of reports will avoid most email notifications. Third, some users want to set their own report due date because their systems have unusual lags in data that exceed established timeframes. By default, due dates are automatically set by the interval. That is, monthly reports are due 30 days following the end of the month, quarterly reports are due 45 days following the end of the quarter, and annual reports are due 90 days following the end of the year. This enhancement allows system owners to set alternative due dates. This is important for triggering email notifications. If you want to set an alternative due date, please let us know at GOMB. Fourth, the SMIS now allows some measures of QTOE to be excluded from agency and/or state aggregations. As a reminder, all systems are combined based on their share of operating expenses to calculate agency and statewide progress toward improvement. Some users have additional or substitute measures of QT and OE, and they want to monitor separately. They want to monitor those separately without having those alternative measures combined with other systems. 2 examples of excluded measures are one system that set a more restrictive quality standard after having significantly improved their original standard, and another system that wants to track outcomes for a subset of the population. In both cases, the original measures of QTOE are reported and aggregated for agency and statewide results. but both systems can monitor additional or substitute outcomes with the full functionality of the SMIS without impacting aggregate results. The remaining enhancements may be more easily described by showing them to you in the SMIS. For the fifth enhancement, many users wanted to communicate special circumstances or provide additional explanations when reporting results. The My Systems screen is where users report Q, T, and OE. We've added a comments field to this screen so that notes may be recorded with entries. In fact, comments are now mandatory when making changes to earlier reports. The login name, which is usually an email address, of the person making the comment with the date and time will automatically be added to the heading for each comment. Sixth, on the QTOE reporting screen, we added an additional level of aggregation for subsystems that are part of a single larger system. We also clarified the labels for roll-up as system and single agency. The system roll-up combines all subsystems into a single trend weighted by each subsystem's share of OE. The single agency shows the trend of all the systems and or subsystems within an agency. So for example, these two systems here, reparations for victims of crime, at 30 days and 45 days are part of the same system, and they can be seen here independently. When we click the system chart box above, those are combined into a single trend. When we click the single agency, all of these are combined into a single trend for the agency. Some users also have access to multiple agencies and to statewide trends. Seventh, executive directors appreciate the trends on these charts. However, the previous releases of SMIS didn't allow users to see the point values of those trends. They can see the point values of the data, but when we add a trend, those point values previously were not available. They are available now. And that's true for both linear regressions and for 3-month simple moving average. Eighth, many users ask for additional charts that show the individual trends of quality, throughput, operating expense, and quality throughput. These reports function identically as the original QTOE report, with the one single exception that there are no aggregation for individual variables. The reason that there is no roll-up is that the individual variables of Q and T are in different units, or often in different units, and they can't be combined. So for example, one system may investigate 10 businesses per month, while another clears snow from thousands of miles of road. These can't be combined or retain any kind of context or meaning. Nevertheless, setting date parameters and generating reports is exactly the same. Likewise, the chart types, including the trends for linear regression and for 3-month simple moving averages, is exactly the same. The 9th and final enhancement is for users that report supplemental data on the My Systems screen. That data may now be downloaded from the reporting screen using this key here, Export Supplemental Data to Excel. It works exactly as it does for exporting data for QT and OE. Thank you for your attention to this video. We hope these enhancements make the SMIS more useful. If you have questions or comments, please let us know at GOMB. This concludes the video on enhancements to the SMIS.